Well, welcome everyone to Prepper Chicks After Dark. This is where we get down and really lay it down on the line. It is the 8th day of April 2014. And before we get started, I would like to wish my most beloved a very happy birthday tomorrow. So happy birthday, Eddie, in the chat room. Everybody say happy birthday to Eddie. So, all right, let's rock and roll tonight. I'm really excited about our guest tonight. He's been around for a while. He's one of those guys that knows what he's talking about. He just doesn't talk about it. He actually does what he talks about. So that's always a plus. And he's a geek on top of that. So that's really exciting, especially for somebody that's, into that kind of stuff. Why are we here? We're going to play some Conflicted. And it is an awesome deck of cards that's great for your preparedness group. It's 52 cards. It's got scenarios on each one that will really open up conversations amongst the people in your group. It's a lot of what if, what would you do, kind of things, because those questions aren't asked. And it's better to find out how someone would react now than when shit really does hit the fan. So we're going to play it live tonight. And like we do every Tuesday night, 11 o'clock on UCY.tv. And let's get rolling. So our guest tonight, back with us, tried and true, Alika. Welcome back.
Thanks, Lori. I'm with SHTFready.com. We are a prepping survivalist forum that share ideas and help each other learn and prepare. We're a community of down-to-earth preppers discussing real-life situations, and everyone's welcome. You heard of the ant and the grasshopper story? Our website teaches you to be the ant.
Awesome. Thanks. Great to have you back. And
Thank you.
The creator of the card game itself, JD is with us tonight from Survival Logics. Welcome back, JD.
Yay.
Laurie, thanks for having me back. It's great to be here with you guys.
Always a joy to have you. You always have a slightly twisted way to think about things, which I greatly appreciate. And on to our special guest tonight is the one and only Geek Prepper. Welcome.
Hey, thanks for having me. I'm really thrilled to be here.
Why don't you let everybody know what you're about and website, where to find you, all that kind of loveliness.
All right, Geek Prepper. It is www.geekprepper.org. I am just about giving you the edge when the shit hits the fan. I see a lot of people who just aren't ready. So I decided I'd bring some of my small town wisdom to the big city out here and try to set these people straight.
How long have you been into preparedness?
I've been into preparedness professionally probably about 4 years. But I grew up with it. I'm small town hunter. If it's broke, fix it. You get by on your own. So that's just how I was brought up. So lifelong prepper, I guess.
My kind of guy. Yeah, that's how we roll. So great to have you here tonight.
Pleasure's mine.
And we need to get you hooked up too later on and make sure that you get a deck, because if you go to the website, and you guys in the chat room listen up, you go to the website, you can actually submit your own questions. Deck 1 and Deck 2 are out now. I know, JD, you have some things in the work that are really exciting. You have, for one of our regular guests on here, which is G. Michael Hoff, he's a writer, and you've created a deck based upon one of his books.
Yes, that's a very exciting project. I'm a fan of G. Michael. I think his books are great. So doing a conflicted deck based on his books is just a thrill.
Yeah.
It's going to come out over the next couple of weeks. And this is going to be the perfect deck to play with people who you don't want them to know anything about how prepared you are. They're not even ready to play a regular deck of conflicted.
Oh.
This is the very beginning, because you can totally pass that as a game that's based on a book. Totally nothing to do with preparedness, even though it's a post-apocalyptic book. But in reality, it is. So once it comes out, you see it, it will make more sense. But it is the perfect deck to play with people who you're kind of starting to fill them out and see if they're material for your bug out group.
Interesting. That's a bit of a teaser. I know G. Michael's books are based on an EMP going down, so that'll be interesting to see, especially as much news as there's been recently around EMP events and our slightly less than stable grid that we all draw power from. So
Yes.
let's rock and roll here because we always run out of time. So, anybody have a card they want to throw out to begin with? Cool. I do. And this one is aimed right at the geek prepper. So, you have your choice of survival weaponry. What would you choose? Here's your choices. You have a sonic screwdriver. You have a phaser. You have a lightsaber. You have a master sword. You have a magic wand, or do you have the portal gun? Those are your choices. You've got 6 of them.
Woof. Lightsaber for sure.
Lightsaber all the way?
Yep, I'm close second on the sonic screwdriver because I am a big Doctor Who guy.
Oh, but the sonic screwdriver is not a weapon.
That's true. That's true. And there's just something about a lightsaber coming at you that I think would be a game changer.
Alika, what do you think? Which one would you pick?
Well, since I didn't know what the hell the majority of the equipment you just named, I'll have to go with the lightsaber as well.
Booyah!
Can you tell I have a little geek in me?
But,
Easy there.
He's sitting across the room. Don't worry about it. And it is his birthday. JD.
I think the lightsabers would be universal, like a shotgun. As soon as you turn that thing on, and people will know what the hell it is and stop what they're doing, and get out of there.
Yeah, JD, which one would you pick?
The lightsaber. I don't want to be the guy without the lightsaber when everybody has it.
Is your lightsaber bigger than the rest of theirs?
I don't want to feel left out.
Who has the bigger lightsaber?
Yeah, I'll say it. I do.
I heard it's not the size of the lightsaber.
It's how you wing it.
That's right.
The force is not with you.
It's how you swing it.
Okay, let's get on to the real question here. So, all right, here we go. This is from the second deck, and this is not attached to anyone, so it was not submitted by a viewer. But, in your opinion, is the world too far gone that nothing but a complete collapse will bring forth real change? Why, and what would that change be? So, JD, what do you think? Are we too far gone?
Yes. In my opinion, we are. And I think that way because the great majority of people just are not wired to live sustainably, which is doing something for a living that provides a real benefit to the people around them. And the fact that there's a great majority of people that kind of think that way, they get manipulated into a free lunch, which gives another group of people leverage to do whatever they want with the politics. So, long story short, yes, I think the world is too far gone because of corruption. I don't think there's anything we simple mortals can do to weed these people out without a complete collapse. We can change them one for the other, but
not to the extent.
Yeah, we need a reset, in my opinion.
Alika, what do you think?
Oh, I honestly think that we are too far gone on the aspect of us relying too much on the paper dollar and not relying on what we used to rely on, gold and other tangible items. I'm not too well versed in the subject, but everyday things like shopping and grocery shopping and whatnot is my dollar just doesn't stretch as far. And I think with the economic collapse, we'll realize that the the paper dollar is not what it is, and when it finally does collapse, we can go back to the old standard of the way we used to operate.
Gotcha. What about you, Geek?
The world is too far gone. I mean, they've invested generations in control. They've poisoned our school systems. They've destroyed our economy. They're not going to go down without the reset button. I mean, the police departments aren't Andy Griffith anymore. They're tactical SWAT team military ninjas. I mean, they fear the people. That's why they legislate us and control us.
Well, I have a question. So we have a down grid. You know, shit hits the fan. The change that you're talking about that would need to happen, you know, it's not going to wipe out all the bad people. We're going to lose probably equal amounts of good people as well as bad people. So would the change actually, do you think, benefit us? Or would it just, all it's going to do is reduce the population? Because it would be
Is that for
anybody.
Well,
I think. Okay, go ahead.
Well, you're the guest. You go first.
I was going to say, I mean, the problem isn't isolated to one grid. I mean, it's not just a problem in the United States. This is a global problem. If our grid goes down, the powers that be, the real controllers, the money, they're going to use that to their advantage somehow. They're going to bring in foreign troops. They're going to set up camp. We're still screwed. I mean, it's going to take a vast, huge loss of life, which is a terrible thing to make this change, and I don't think we'll see it. I hope we don't see it. We need the change, but we don't need the calamities that go with it.
Yeah, but there's no way to really pinpoint just the bad guys.
No, there's not.
And I think we forget that sometimes. JD, what were you going to tag on there?
Well, I was going to say that about entitlement mentality. And it's not only the big populace that doesn't feel like working and they're happy with the handout. What about our politicians? They forgot that they're public servants and they feel like they need to rule over us. And I believe it's at all levels, you know, not only at the very top, but even local, man. I'm trying to open a new business here in California and it's like pulling teeth, you know?
Yeah.
Just every single step of the way. When you need to clear with the city, you need to clear with the county.
Well, they want money.
Everybody wants to have a say.
Control.
Even though, exactly. And shouldn't it be that if I have a product or service to offer, that whoever wants to buy has a right to come and buy? And if they don't want to, they won't, and I go out of business? That's the way it should be. Yet these people weave themselves into our daily lives just to justify their existence. And that's the entitlement mentality. Like they can do it and they deserve to do it and they should do it.
Yeah. But Mama has a point in the chat room. How do you get a reset without having a grid down? What are our options?
I don't
Revolution.
I think that would be a great thing, but honestly, I question the numbers anymore. You know, unless you have it in succession where you have a grid down and you thin out the herd to begin with, that entitlement mentality that JD was talking about probably outnumbers quite a bit those of us that want to change for the better.
Definitely.
Absolutely. You know, this is not 1776 that we have a bunch of pilgrims that they want to labor in peace, you know, and they want to do something with themselves. There's a huge majority of people that they're just blind and they don't care to wake up at all.
They don't care because they don't have to. Everything's taken care of for them.
Exactly.
And Vern, I would not eat my neighbors. I'm sorry.
I was just thinking about eating my neighbors.
And you just posted, Geek, that you would eat your neighbors.
I was going to do it right after the show, actually.
I'll send you mine.
Oh, no, I've got plenty. And they're looking pretty entitlement fatted up.
Yeah, exactly. Salty does bring up a point. Those that are against us have already turned in their guns, if they even had them to begin with. And if you guys haven't gone to see the movie that just came out on Friday called Goodbye World, do so. It'll leave you screaming at your TV or the movie screen. Trust me. Those guys will be back on next week to talk about the movie itself, but interesting movie to say the least.
Really?
Yeah. So
Unfortunately, it wasn't playing around here, but I'm gonna get it on iTunes.
I got it on demand when it came out and was yeah. It's a whole nother segment of the population that, you know, I don't necessarily interact with. But it was kind of weird to see that part of the population in action in a downgrid and what they think would happen. So yeah, we'll see what happens. But let's move on to the next question before I let too much out of the bag there. So Alika, you're always good for a question. What do you got?
All right. Describe how you would approach other survival groups after the collapse.
Okay.
Pretty simple.
Yeah, pretty is. So you get to answer first. It's your question.
Well, if I already had a group of people, or say even, you know, a bunch of friends that we've all agreed to meet at my house, and I learned that there's another compound or another group a couple blocks over or whatever, you know, I would just approach them in a friendly stance and, or a friendly manner, and, you know, say, hey, you know, this is where we're at. I know where you're at. Let's join forces as far as security wise, and, you know, help protect our neighborhood or help protect our property line or whatever. And, that way we're not, you know, leeching on each other's resources, and we have something to fall back onto, because, you know, overall numbers means power, plain and simple.
Yeah. Geek, what do you think? You're going to approach another group.
I was tossing this around last week after watching the season finale of Walking Dead. I think there'd have to be some due diligence before approaching anyone. I would definitely do some recon and see how they do handle things. Are they a militant group? Are they charitable? Or are they just looking to, you know, take my group down and cannibalize us and eat us? I mean,
Yeah. So burying your bug out bag in the woods outside the territory is always a good thing.
yeah, and not leaving someone out there with that cache of arms. I'm just going to wander in unarmed and let them take me prisoner. No, it's not going to happen. I'm going to check them out. I'm going to do what you do in the other business. I mean, you don't walk up to a stranger on the street and go, "Hey, get in my car, let's hang out." You got to check them out and observe for a while, and then you have the knowledge to make a good decision. So if you see them handing out food and helping people, or I mean, you've got a lot better chance of dealing with them and maybe forging a deal than if they're just going out and they're raping, pillaging, and looting. I mean, that's not a group I want to be with. I don't want to let them know where I'm at. So observe and then verify.
JD?
Well, I would not communicate with other prepper groups
At all?
unless it was somebody that I knew for sure. It's somebody that I have a personal relationship with. But if there is a group 2 streets down or whatever, I would not approach him unless it was absolutely necessary. The way that I would look to network was maybe going to a trade post where everybody's there trading that have something to offer. Because if you want to trade with people that have the mentality to trade, instead of going and looting, they're going to provide you something in exchange for something that they need. So I think that'd be the perfect place to kind of try to form relationships with people that you don't know. Because imagine this, you're doing a recon on a camp, and then you get captured. Are they really going to buy your story that you're there just checking them out so you can be friends? No, everybody is going to be super wired to thinking everybody wants their own stuff. Everybody wants their stuff. So, I would not approach anybody unless it was through a trade post, somebody who goes there all the time, build a relationship over time, and then do something more solid. But out of the blue, no way. I think it's just too risky because you don't know who that other person is, unless you put yourself out there too, either checking them out or talking to them. So I'll take more of a subtle approach.
Yeah, I think everybody is. But you bring up a good point, JD, which we can roll into the next question. Hot on the prepper list is always collecting things for barter. How much knowledge do you let people? You mentioned going to a like a barter mart kind of place to take your stuff and see what you can barter with other people. But, somebody brought up not too long ago that might not be a good idea. Do you want people out there in a downgrade situation to know that you actually have things that you're willing to barter? What do you think, JD?
Well, it depends, If you show up there with a bunch of stuff, with more than everybody else, I think you're making a mistake. I think first thing you got to do is show up with things that you can carry in your arms and see, just see what people are bringing. If it's a loot fest, you lose a little, but you don't want to carry a whole bunch of stuff there to barter with. I imagine these barter towns or whatever they're going to be called, it's just going to be like a flea market.
Yeah. So I should walk in there
up.
I should walk in there with all my little bottles of alcohol I've stolen through all the hotels that I stay at.
Yeah, the little shampoos, soaps and stuff.
I have a nice collection.
Yeah, and so I think you start with that, and you're just going to have to invest the time. I think one of the things people take for granted is that right now we don't have to build that trust with people because we have money. Money is our trust. Here's $1. Here's a burger or whatever. They know the dollar is valuable, so they trust the money that you're giving them. But once there's no money, and you have to trade stuff, and you have to negotiate, and you have to build trust with people, it's going to be kind of a new thing. No, we're not used to that kind of life.
No, not unless we hang out, like you said, at the flea markets and stuff. Geek, how would you run your barter mart?
I would go in low and slow. I wouldn't take a ton of stuff. I would just take a little bit to kind of see how it worked. You don't want to show up and be the rich guy in the block because someone's going to get you. So just like Craigslist, you don't walk out there with a fan of your money. You show up, you talk a little bit, you get a feel for it, and if things seem bad, you just walk away with nothing.
Yeah.
Alika, go ahead, JD.
Go ahead. No, I was gonna say, and whenever you're gonna transact with somebody, make sure you do it there in front of other people. Like whenever I buy something off Craigslist, I'm not driving to somebody's house, especially if it's in the ghetto. Meet me at Starbucks.
Yeah.
Yep. Best Buy parking lot.
Yeah.
But at Barter Mart, I'm going to be trading my body. I'm not really going to be bringing physical things, so I can take that with me when I leave.
Are we trading sex again? We're already into that.
Hey, if it's a product they want, they're going to pay for it.
Oh, I did not know that about you, dude.
I mean, trust me, I wouldn't get much.
We were talking about prison sex this morning. You should have been on that show.
Well,
been there, done that, right?
I don't like to brag.
Anyways, okay, Alika, how would you make any changes to your barter mart?
I would bring the small essentials, soap, batteries, whatever. But big items, it would have to be. You order it, I'll tell that person, hey, I know a guy that knows the other guy that can get this. I'll have it to you within 24 hours or 48 hours or 72 hours. and we'll meet here at the same spot. I wouldn't bring every stinking thing I had to trade, or I would make myself a target. So I would leave a good 99% of the stuff in a hidey hole, or in a different location, and then bring it back. And bring it back later when somebody actually requests it.
It's probably pretty good we do this show sober. Well, most of us anyways. But somebody brought up in the chat room, and Lika, we're not looking at trading money for money or money for objects now. We're talking about trading product for product, more stuff. So, how would you go about making sure that if you are trading for generator part or something like that it would actually work? And how would you guarantee that before you get scammed? I mean, it's going to be a lot harder to do in this kind of a situation.
On something like that, we'd have to come to some terms and say, if I needed a generator part, I would tell them, hey, I want to see this thing work. Let me install it into my generator or other machinery, and if it turns on, boom, you get that 10-pound bag of rice that we agreed on, or whatever. If it doesn't work, oh well, we're out about a half hour of time trying to install it, and you can have this part back and then melt it down for something else or whatever. But to take it on good faith after the collapse, no, I would have to see it work, even if that meant me sitting there for hours on end trying to install that particular part or whatever.
Geek, what would you add?
I wouldn't do deals if I didn't have an expert or wasn't an expert. I can't afford to put a generator part in my generator there. I mean, because then I've hauled a generator halfway across the state or whatever. If I can't look at it and tell if it's going to work, if I can't shake it and it sounds okay, I think I'm probably going to play it safe and just not do it. And now if it's insulin or something for a child, you may have to take it and hope for the best, Smell it, taste it.
If that's your child, would you gamble that?
I don't know. I would try to control it through diet, I guess. But yeah, barter. If I don't know anything about generators, I'm not going to try to trade for parts. I'll just find something else.
JD?
Yeah, I agree. If it's something that I'm not familiar with, I'm not even going to go there.
But what if it's medicine? What if your child needs insulin?
Well, if they need insulin, their clock is ticking. And eventually they're going to pass on. Like how much insulin is it going to take? I don't have a 50-year supply of insulin for my kid, So it's kind of shocking, but I believe in a life after this one. I don't believe it ends here. But in a situation like that, I mean, do you prolong your child's life as long as you can? What if the world is not a good place to be right now? Aren't they better off in a different place?
Yeah.
Should you even go there with your insulin? Aren't you just going to prolong the inevitable?
Tough choices a lot of people are going to have to make.
And how do you validate its insulin? How do you make sure it's really insulin and not kerosene? I mean,
Well, they brought up in the chat room, what if you're trading for a skill set? What if you say, you can have the insulin if, you come and, get my generator started because you're a mechanic, and you go ahead and give the insulin, and then this guy isn't the mechanic that he says he is.
But then he's going to be frying on the grill.
Yeah, there's a new type of law for that.
I would require them to perform the service first before I render payment.
Well, it depends. If you really need the medicine fast, you're not going to be able to wait around for it.
Yeah.
So do you just let him walk away then?
No.
You'd have to take something else that's valuable.
Yep. There's got to be payment.
His
Yeah,
solar wolf.
I don't accept people's words right now, on things, unless it's a reputable business. But somebody comes install a dishwasher that do a crappy job. I don't expect them to come back, unless it's through a reputable company. But that actually leads me to think to a different question. We're talking about bartering things, objects, material things. What if it's skill? What are some skills that people can learn to barter in the event of a collapse? What if they have nothing? They're destitute, and they want to start over. Like besides security and selling their body, because everybody, that's easy question, easy answer there, but
They're- Oh, Geek, you're going to have to go last this time.
Is nobody going to sex me for money? Seriously?
We'll get you on a show with G. Michael.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Why does it always turn to Walking Dead and prostitution on this show?
That's all we got.
So skills that people can learn now, in order to have something to barter with after a downgrade situation. So,
Yes.
What do you think? So medicinal obviously has to be one of them. And I'm not.
things that are easy, because of course somebody can go to college 4 years and be a doctor.
Yeah,
But what are
yeah,
some of maybe our listeners?
they
Maybe a guy
can't. They
who's
can't.
a computer guy right now. What can he do
Oh,
in the
man.
future?
Sewing, knife sharpening, small engine repair, horseshoeing.
Horseshoeing.
Yeah, shoe horses. Horses would be in big demand, I think, after, a situation like that. I'm going to steal a couple of them right away. I mean, barter. Barter for some right away.
I would actually steal a donkey or a mule.
Those things are mean.
Yeah, they're not as cool.
They'll protect you.
Yeah, they take less feed and care than a horse would.
Really?
They're good animals to protect your herd with too. Like if you have goats and stuff like that, yeah, they'll keep a lot of other animals, predators out.
Interesting.
I didn't know that. That's good stuff.
So, what about small mechanical repair stuff? Can you make weapons out of computer parts? Solar stuff, Geek? I mean, we have tons of solar panels along the freeway.
Yeah, you can. Oh, yeah, we do too. I've been eyeballing them for
I know.
a while.
I know exactly where they're all at.
Yeah, if you know like resistors and diodes, you can probably find some older computer stuff that you could salvage. Everything now is all these integrated microprocessor integrate. I mean, so you don't see a lot of the cool things you can actually, bust off or solder off and use. So, but there's stuff you can use. You can sharpen some of it into a nice shiv. Give somebody a good shanking, sell them at the barter market.
Well, we have toothbrushes for that.
Dual purpose.
Exactly. In 30 seconds, I can have one.
Yep.
Give me a nail
those solar
file and a
panels-
toothbrush.
Those panels along the road are real tempting, though. I think those will be the first things to really disappear, even in a partial situation.
No, because, well, here in Indianapolis, if you're out by the airport, they have fields of them now, for some strange reason. So I think the ones along the freeway will be safe for me to gather because the hordes of the rest of the people will be out at the airport. So that's my plan.
That's our plan, too, now. Thanks.
Well, if you start early, all of those solar panels will probably still be there. It won't be so.
Power goes out. I'm gone.
Yeah.
It's mine.
They're all going to hit the Walmarts and the Targets
Exactly.
and the Best Buys. So just start getting your solar panels early.
Now,
Definitely.
that's the knowledge that I wish I had, because you can do a lot with that. The solar panels, learning how to deal with them and stuff.
Oh, yeah. I've got a
Right now.
solar set up to charge batteries, so I could sell batteries.
Yeah, but how long are
That's
batteries
great.
good for?
In the
25
hot
years?
long. Yeah. But I
I
can
know.
recharge alkalines, too. So, I mean, I've got a little bit of an edge over some people.
Yeah, you could be like the shopkeeper in the Book of Eli.
There you go.
Well, he might be the master of the barter mart. Everybody's going to come to him because he has all the cool stuff.
It ain't going to be in this neighborhood where I'm setting up shop, I'll tell you that.
All right, let's see. While we're on this, talking about building skill sets, what are some other things that people can do now? I mean, I think we all would agree that something's going to happen. Something's got to give. There's just too much tension around the world right now for it to just cool down quietly. And that could be anywhere. And I'm not talking just wars between countries, the economy, but I'm also talking if you follow earthquakes and all of that kind of stuff. It's just getting noticeable more for people that haven't paid attention in the past. And they're like, what the hell, you know? So what are some things people can do now in order to get better prepared if they're just starting out? So, Geek, what do you think?
I think learning maybe some valuable things like maybe gunsmithing or learning how to make parts out of metal without electricity so you can replace parts. Ham radio, you get a solar setup and a ham. You could charge people to talk to far off people who also had access to ham radio. Seamstress. Sorry.
Would you charge people? Or do you think would you just make them take a step back and not even tell them that you have it?
Yeah. You know what? That's a good point. I mean, the ham radio could be real handy for just determining what's going on around you. So maybe have a portable that you could take around with you to let people use, I guess, for, less than 20-mile comms. But if you want to keep tabs on the military and the police and what's going on with the local government, I think you better have a little ham radio tucked away somewhere. So.
Definitely. Alika, what would you add?
I actually had a thought and it slipped my head, or slipped my mind.
Just playing Angry Birds didn't understand the question.
It was, we talked about the skill sets. Describe 5 things someone can do to prepare for the collapse of society. I think it's going to depend on where you live. Everybody out there should be prepping probably for different things.
Yeah. This thing about Ukraine, I don't know if you guys are following it. It's not over.
By far.
Even though Russia kind of annexed Crimea, now people in eastern Ukraine are going through the same steps. They're asking Putin to interfere, and they want a referendum, and they're going to the downtown, breaking everything, setting everything on fire. And this is happening in other countries around the world, Venezuela, Thailand. It's just, there's a lot of unhappy people out there right now.
Did you see in Venezuela where people were having to take numbers to get groceries because of the situation going on down there? How well do you think that would go here in the United States?
Oof.
Yeah, that would not bode over well.
Be riots.
We see that before Blizzard, let alone anything else. People get to thinking that there's nothing coming.
Well, people go bananas during Black Friday. You can only imagine when panic sets in.
That's what I was going to say.
Yeah, I remember when we lived in Cleveland, there was a company that was selling 23-cent pizzas, and they had lines that were 5 miles long of people standing in line all day long just to purchase one pizza for 23 cents. Can you imagine what it would be like if, when it really happens? That's why I think it's important that those of us that are awake, in my air quotes, awake, make sure that you're looking at the timeline of things. I mean, you can go into, downgraded situations, Katrina in Haiti, earthquake situations, anything like that. There's a natural progression of events, and our best benefit, in my opinion, is to just stay low for a time period until all of that kind of, sadly enough, dies off. And it will die off because a lot of people will just die.
Yeah.
They will die and they will move. I was looking at Syria, Aleppo, which is a city that's been populated for over 1,000 years. Right now, it's pretty much in ruins. And the only people in certain neighborhoods right now are just the so-called rebels and the Syrian army. So, depending where you bug out to, people are just going to shift and they're going to go somewhere else. So you just got to hunker down for a little bit until people start dissipating to other areas. And on another note, this thing about the collapse and people going crazy over stuff, this is how blind people are. They don't realize that the things that they're going to get, that they're going to fight for, are the things that we all make ourselves.
Like,
so instead of going to the grocery store and stealing a bag of apples, why don't you learn how to grow some vegetables, you know? Why don't you learn how to be self-sustainable so we all don't have to freak out. But a collapse will lead to the pandemonium because most people don't know how to provide for themselves. And they think everything falls out of the sky. That's why it's going to be just crazy when it happens.
but it does, and it probably will for a while because the government will fly over and drop those little packages down on their heads.
And they'll be super excited. They'll be like, yes.
And then
more Obama phones.
Exactly.
Trust me, MREs are not what it's cracked up to be.
Oh, no. They'll keep you alive.
I'll pay my rent.
That's right.
You lied to me.
Speaking of that, I read in one of these financial websites that I follow that if a mother of 4 kids, single mother of 4 kids, she qualifies to an equivalent of $65,000 a year worth of benefits if she doesn't work. $65,000.
And that does not include child support, right?
No, that's just government assistance between housing.
So
food
why would
stamps,
people work?
healthcare.
I mean, seriously, our government is setting this country up to fail.
Exactly.
I mean, there are people out there, don't get me wrong, that should be taken care of. Widows and orphans come to mind to begin with. And there was a story in the news the other day that I was reading. The woman got in trouble because, and I don't remember where it was at, but she was trying, damn it. And she went to a job interview. She made the wrong choice. She left her child at home. And the authorities caught up to her for neglect. But we've pushed people to the limit of being desperate. And it's just going to get worse.
Yeah, and you're talking about orphans and widows. Back before the government used to take care of all these people, what did they do? You know?
Community and churches.
The community would take care of them. Their families would take care of them.
Which would be nice if you didn't have HOA saying you can't plant a garden, you can't collect rainwater. There's that woman in Florida, and I don't know all of the details of what's going on with her. She was living off the grid. She was in the middle of the city. The only thing she used was, I believe, the city sewer system. And they kicked her out of her home. They boarded up and said, I'm sorry, you can't live here. It's unsanitary. We got shit like that going on. And how many boarded up houses in Indianapolis alone? You drive down the road and every third house is boarded up. How many homeless people could we put into those homes and get them off the street, get them out of the weather? Give them a chance. The nice thing is, though, the SNAP, which is the welfare benefits that they get, they've opened that up to be able to purchase seeds and things like that for a garden, which I think is great.
That's good.
Yeah.
Yeah, but the sad part is, how many people do you actually think would take advantage of that?
Nobody. It's too
Yeah.
easy to buy lobster and steak.
Yep, and
Exactly.
marijuana. Can't you buy legal marijuana in some states, like Colorado? Can't you buy weed with your Snap card?
I hadn't heard of that yet.
I don't think so.
They were talking about it, opening up. Maybe they didn't do it. I guess there's enough of an outcry, but man, who would want to work then?
Well, only if you can buy Girl Scout cookies along with it.
Doritos, man, they're already on the list.
Exactly.
Yeah, it's too easy to have somebody with an EBT card go up to a particular person and go, hey, do you want to go do your grocery shopping with my card? And you give me 50 cents for every dollar you spend on my EBT card. That scam's been going on forever since there were food stamps.
Right now.
Yeah, sadly enough. But
you
it's
got one? I'll do it. 50 cents.
cookout at Geek's house.
That's right, man. I make a mean steak and lobster. Come on over.
Okay, so let's go to the next question. I'm going through the old deck here because we haven't been there after a while, for quite a while actually. Let's see here. Russia, China, Iran, and North Korea and Venezuela declared war against the United States. Geez, like that could never happen. Due to the death of the dollar, which led to a complete collapse of the global fiat money system. They blame the U.S. government for ruining the global financial markets and are using propaganda to get the support of their own people. Your country's president has gone on TV and declared that there are rough times ahead and that all citizens need to prepare for World War III. What is the first thing you would do? Alika?
I would just start stocking up on food, seeds, the basic prepper supplies. Just
make that one last run?
Correct.
And anything you would target specifically? Knowing it's your last run to the store?
I would have to say renewables resources. If I would believe if the president announced that World War III was coming, everybody would be hitting up Walmart and all the other grocery stores. I think I'd like to assume that my everyday preps would be ready, and all I would have to do is go out into the masses and hit maybe the garden section of Walmart or the feed store and just grab all the seeds and pretty much anything that would give me a renewable resource for food.
Yeah, because you're not going to get the frozen pizzas and the potato chips. They're going to be gone.
Yeah, exactly. So I would like to think my last run would be just grabbing as many seeds as possible so I could get my gardening going.
JD, we're going to war. It's World War III. You got one last. What's the first thing you're going to do?
First thing I'll do is buy fuel and stock up on protein shakes, the powder kind.
Are you going to be building muscle?
No, but really your body only needs proteins and fats to survive. And most people are going to be going for carbs. So if you got your proteins and, I think that's one thing that people are probably not gonna be stockpiling as much as everything else. So I'll get that, and I'll probably look to move because I live in California, and World War III, this place here would not be very happy for much longer.
Yeah, you probably get little visitors off of the coast pretty fast.
Yeah. Especially because, what an easy target California is. Bunch of people who hate guns. They don't know how to put up a fight.
Peace, love, and harmony, baby.
Yeah, you got... If they go to San Francisco, who's going to put up a fight there? Nobody.
You got some bases all over the state, but once those are gone, then what? So
you're saying only Compton and Watts will be the sole protectors of the entire state of California, huh?
the Bloods and the Crips are going to be hunkering down. No, but even they are going to leave, man, because everybody's going to go.
I would almost question that. A lot of the gangs and stuff, especially in Los Angeles, are based from Mexico, which, in my opinion, I would start digging down that rabbit trail because, they might allow people to come in and barter. Hey, here's an open port we've taken control of. You can come right in here. I would question that. Geek, what would you do first thing?
I would get the heck out of Maryland.
Tell me you don't live in Maryland.
I freaking am behind enemy lines, people. I am the first line of defense.
Wow, I thought I was bad in the People's Republic of New York.
It was a huge accident moving here. I took a job, married a beautiful girl, got my ass stuck in a communist state. So I would head to the Midwest, and while everyone else is hitting the Walmarts and the grocery stores, I'm going to hit a couple of those grain mills and buy all the corn and wheat that I can, dump it in my truck, and hope for the best. Load the guns.
Do you think you would make it that far?
No, I think that DHS has been ramping up their game for a long time. I think they would roadblock all the highways and do some martial law stuff. I realistically can't make it 600 miles to the Midwest.
Yeah, when we went to Utah, those road barriers are up for the protection of the citizens in case there's blizzards and things, and we've seen them. Kind of spooky when you see them and how much control, that they could impart upon our roadways. So you damn well better have a map of backcountry roads. That's all I'm saying.
Yep, yeah. You've noticed they barricade the roads. They put those big airline cables down in the middle now, so you can't turn around and get away from their checkpoints. They're prepping for something, just like we're prepping for something else.
Oh, here's the FEMA bus. Hop on. They'll let your ass sit out there for a couple days until you're desperate, and then bring the FEMA bus along and say, "Here, I'll rescue you."
Nope, keep the FEMA camp. I'll get to Virginia or West Virginia. I think I'll find some sympathizers there.
Yeah, even Indiana, we're pretty good out here.
I got a crew in Ohio waiting for me. That's where I want to get.
Yeah, I got to give a shout out to all the hometown peeps from Ohio that's in the chat room. I didn't realize how many of us there are in hanging around here. So we might just all move back to Ohio and take over the state and kick everybody out.
Head for Hocking Hills and the caves.
There you go. I was just north of you up in Tuscarawas County, so we were nebus.
Ooh, Van Wert County, shout out.
There you go.
There's a bunch of libertarians that are trying to do that in New Hampshire.
Yes, and more power to them.
Yeah,
definitely more power to them. But we're down to the last few minutes. So one last shout out around the table on who everybody is, where your websites are, where people can find you, and all of that loveliness. So, Geek?
Come check us out on geekprepper.org. We have links to Facebook and our Google Plus and all that jazz there. So come see us.
Awesome Facebook page. Get hooked up with him. He's always pumping some stuff out there that's quite interesting. So all you guys that stock Facebook for prepper information, he's definitely one to get hooked up with. Alika?
With shithitthefanready.com. SHTF ready. We're just a community.
Is that the first time you've said that word?
I try to avoid it, but
I think it is.
You've introduced
yourself for so long now. I think it's the first time that you've said that full out.
Maybe it's the
you broke your cherry.
The bullet whiskey in me. But we are a community of down-to-earth preppers, and we discuss real-life situations. We try to keep all that zombie BS out and government takeover crap, and we focus on the real skills. We try to be the ant, not the grasshopper.
And we appreciate everything that you do.
Yeah.
And JD, the creator of this madness.
conflictedthegame.com/pepperchicks. Go there, get yourself a deck, and if you don't have one, really good tool for you to get together with people and just talk about preparedness.
It is. It causes arguments sometimes, though, too. You have to watch.
Trust me, I know that firsthand.
Do you test the cards out on your spouse?
No, just certain friends getting split all kinds of different directions here because of this crazy game. But go there, get yourself one, and be prepared. You never know what can happen. By the way, Geek, send me your address so we can send you a deck of each so you can check it out.
Oh, heck yeah, we'll do that.
And next week on After Dark, we're going to have the producers of the movie back, Goodbye World. If you haven't seen it, go check it out. It's in limited areas up on this big screen, but you can get it on iTunes or on demand. And it's a little bit liberal, so I'm warning you right now. I yelled a lot, and it's like, you idiot! It's like, what the hell? And it's like, okay, so yeah, it was very interesting, but we know these people live amongst us, so get inside their head for a little bit and check out what they got going on and the mentality part of it, because it was it's definitely something to it went really fast and they tried to cram a lot in there, and you could definitely tell that, but they got the point across, so definitely something to check out. But they'll be back next week to talk about it and play some Conflicted with us. So one last question before the music starts, and we'll fade out from there. What's the one skill that either you're working on or that you want to work on over the coming year? Lika?
Every aspect of fire making. You see it on TV, you read about it, but
dude, I got a 6-inch fire still.
Ooh, nice.
It's a big honking thing too, and it puts out some sparks.
Yeah, but even with the fire steel, it is difficult to start your fire, and I'm so adamant about practicing.
That's pretty.